The Fermi Paradox. Enrico Fermi sat down for lunch at Los Alamos in 1950 and asked a question so simple it broke physics. If the universe is this old and this vast, where is everyone? The numbers are brutal. There are roughly 2 trillion galaxies observable from Earth. Even conservative estimates put the odds of intelligent life at near certain. And yet the radio telescopes are silent. The sky is empty. Fermi's lunch companions laughed. Then they stopped laughing. The paradox isn't that we haven't found aliens. The paradox is that by every calculation we know, we absolutely should have. That silence is the loudest thing in science. The Great Filter. Here is the theory that keeps astrobiologists awake at night. Somewhere between dead chemistry and galaxy-spanning civilization, there is a wall, a filter, something so catastrophically hard to survive that almost nothing gets through. Physicist Robin Hanson named it in 1998. The terrifying question is where the filter sits. If it's behind us, we got lucky. Multicellular life, sexual reproduction, the Cambrian explosion, any of those could be the miracle. But if the filter is ahead of us, every civilization hits it and dies. Nuclear war, climate collapse, a technology that always destroys its inventors before they can leave. The pivot is brutal. Finding microbial life on Mars would be devastating news. It would mean the filter isn't behind us. It's waiting. The Dark Forest Theory. Chinese author Liu Cixin built a model so cold it reframes the entire silence. Imagine every civilization in the universe is a hunter moving through a dark forest. Every other hunter is a potential threat. You can never fully verify another species' intentions. You can never trust that contact won't trigger destruction. So the rational move is to stay silent, and if you detect another presence, eliminate it before it eliminates you. Liu published this in 2008 as fiction. Physicists took it seriously. The implication is that the universe isn't empty because life is rare. It's empty because every civilization that survives long enough learns to hide. The silence is a survival strategy. The rare Earth hypothesis. Paleontologist Peter Ward and astronomer Joe Kirschvink argued in 2000 that Earth isn't typical. It's a freak accident. You need a large moon to stabilize axial tilt. You need a Jupiter-sized planet to deflect asteroid bombardment. You need plate tectonics to recycle carbon. You need a galactic habitation zone, not too close to the violent core, not too far into the dead rim. Stack those requirements and the probability of a planet like Earth collapses toward nearly zero. Complex life isn't common, it's almost impossible. The universe is full of planets. Almost none of them have the right combination of bodyguards, stabilizers, and chemical recyclers to build anything more than slime. The simulation hypothesis. Philosopher Nick Bostrom published a paper in 2003 that went viral decades later. His argument: if civilizations routinely run ancestor simulations, there are far more simulated minds than real ones. Statistically, you are almost certainly inside a simulation. The universe feels empty because the simulator didn't populate it. The resources required to render billions of alien civilizations in full detail are enormous. The programmer made one planet the focus. Everything else is background. Elon Musk has called the odds of base reality being real 1 in billions. What nobody agrees on is what you do with that information. The simulation doesn't care if you figure it out. The Berserker hypothesis. Astronomer Fred Saberhagen proposed something grimmer than silence. What if the universe was seeded long ago with self-replicating machines programmed to destroy any civilization that rises above a certain technological threshold? The machines find you before you find them. They don't negotiate. They don't communicate. They just eliminate. The theory fits the data because the data is nothing. No signals, no megastructures, no debris from ancient wars. Just clean, empty sky. The disturbing detail is that a berserker civilization wouldn't need to still exist. They launched the machines millions of years ago and died themselves. The cleanup crew outlasted its creators. The galaxy is quiet because the janitors already came through. The zoo hypothesis. In 1973, astronomer John Ball suggested that advanced civilizations know we exist and have chosen not to interfere. Earth is a nature reserve, a zoo. They watch but don't contact because contact would contaminate the experiment. The rules of the reserve forbid intervention until we reach some undefined threshold of development. It sounds almost comforting until you press on the edges. Who set the rules? What is the threshold? What happens when we cross it? The theory requires a level of coordination across thousands of civilizations that seems almost as improbable as the silence it explains. But the alternative is that nobody is watching. And somehow, that's worse. The Planetarium hypothesis. Physicist Alexander Bolonkin pushed the simulation idea into darker territory. What if the universe we observe is a deliberate illusion? Not a full simulation of reality, but a projection, a planetarium, designed to make us think we are alone. The stars are painted on a dome. The galaxies are props. The emptiness is manufactured to prevent us from ever looking outward with real intent. The cost of this theory is epistemological vertigo. There is no experiment you can run to disprove it from the inside. Every telescope, every radio array, every space probe operates within the illusion. The question it leaves open is the worst one. Designed by whom and for what purpose? The Transcension hypothesis. Futurist John Smart proposed in 2012 that advanced civilizations don't expand outward. They collapse inward. Instead of building Dyson spheres and colonizing galaxies, they miniaturize. They go deeper into computation, into virtual reality, into inner space. Civilization that can simulate entire universes inside a grain of matter has no reason to broadcast signals into the void. The universe looks empty because everyone who survived long enough turned inward and disappeared. The pivot here is strange and almost hopeful. They didn't die. They just left in a direction we can't see. The silence isn't a graveyard. It might be a door. The sustainability hypothesis. Anthropologist Cameron Smith and others have argued that expansion itself is the killer. Every civilization that tries to spread across star systems runs into the same wall. The energy and coordination required to sustain interstellar growth exceeds what any biological species can manage. Colonies drift. Communications lag by years. Central authority collapses. What looks like a growing empire fragments into isolated pockets that go dark one by one. The universe isn't empty because civilizations fail to start. It's empty because they always fail to scale. Growth beyond a certain radius becomes entropic. The machine eats itself. Every empire in human history has hit a version of this wall. Interstellar ones just hit it faster. The early bird problem. Astrophysicist David Grinspoon and others have pointed to timing as the real culprit. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, but the conditions for complex life only stabilized relatively recently in cosmic terms. The first generation of stars lacked heavy elements. The second generation was better, but still metal poor. Earth formed in the third generation window, around 4.5 billion years ago. We may simply be among the first complex civilizations to exist anywhere. There is no silence because the others haven't arrived yet. We are early. The radio telescopes are quiet because the broadcast hasn't started. The terrifying corollary is that we might be the ones the younger civilizations eventually hear. We might be the signal. The self-destruction hypothesis. This one doesn't need aliens to be frightening. The pattern observed in human history suggests that every civilization capable of interstellar communication is also capable of building weapons that can end it. Nuclear arsenals, engineered pandemics, runaway artificial intelligence. Climate systems push past tipping points. The window between advanced enough to broadcast and advanced enough to self-destruct may be measured in centuries, not millennia. SETI researchers call it the phase transition problem. Civilizations spike and vanish. The universe is littered with the radio ghosts of species that had one good century of signal output before going dark forever. The sky is a graveyard of brief, bright moments. The silence is not a mystery waiting for a single answer. It is 12 answers stacked on top of each other, each one darker than the last, each one pointing at a different failure mode in the chain between chemistry and cosmos. What every theory shares is this: the universe had billions of years and trillions of chances to fill itself with voices, and it didn't. Either life is the miracle, or survival is, or contact is. Something in that chain almost never works. The sting is this: we are still in the chain. The filter, the forest, the janitors, the inward turn. We don't know which one is real. We only know we haven't passed it yet.